All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? You got Chuck here, keeping it Rio, coming live from the studio. And I got a really great interview guest today, one of my best friends in the world, someone that you guys are going to absolutely love because I don't know too many more interesting people than this guy. So I'm just going to kick it right off. I want to bring in my good friend all the way from Indian Trail, North Carolina, Dimitri Vouvoudakis, aka Big Al Thompson, and many other names that we won't mention here on this podcast. But D, what's going on, boss? How you doing?
I'm doing very well, Chuck. I really appreciate you having me on here on Keeping It Rio. I've been watching you here now for quite some time and seeing your growth over the last few years, and seeing where you're at now is it's a great thing. I'm really proud of you, and I'm very proud to call myself your friend. So thank you for having me on.
Man, I just had the mirror and just had to that all just reflected right back on you as well. I couldn't have said it any better. So we've been buddies now for over a decade, believe it or not. It's crazy to think that it was 2010 when we met. We were doing a little business venture down there in Charlotte that hey, it didn't turn out right, but it turned out pretty cool because I got some lifelong friends out of the deal. So let's just start with that. We started back in 2010 a roofing supply company. I won't even name it because it's no longer around, so it's not even relevant. But it was pretty sweet when we were there, and that's the truth. So we started a little roofing supply company over there in Charlotte, North Carolina, on Thrift Road, which was a wonderful neighborhood. I enjoyed that. It's where I learned to carry firearms. We had a blast. I came down from Ohio. I was with the roofing supply company there, and they gave me that opportunity. And the very first guy that we hired to be our warehouse specialist was this young fella right here. And that was some fun, wasn't it? That was 11 years ago. That means, how old were you 11 years ago, you old man?
I was 21 years old.
21, and constantly reminding me that I was way older than him.
It's funny, I'm pretty sure I called you an old bastard on several occasions.
You've called me an old bastard numerous times. It's usually my birthday. I get reminded of that annually, which is great. But what's even better is you're starting to get pretty old yourself now. So yeah, I feel like I'm staying the same. You're getting older. I'm enjoying watching your progression into senior citizenship.
Citizenship. I still got a long way to go there, but yeah, definitely starting to feel it as I get older, and I'm starting to take on more things business wise. Obviously, we've both moved on from that unnamed roofing supply company that we've said we're not going to mention, and we've both done well for ourselves. I think starting at a place like that as one of my first jobs out in the real world after school kind of opened my eyes up to what the world doesn't have to offer and what a lot of people get stuck with, and they kind of just get complacent. But clearly when you have the different mentalities, someone like yourself, you're not complacent. You want to move up from that, and you moved halfway across the country and made something for yourself. So that says a lot.
I've done that a couple times, that's just part of the deal. I'm with you. I'm an adventurous guy. I'm an entrepreneurial spirit, and I don't think any of us belonged in an office where we were getting paid by the hour. It was a cool experience for a little while. I feel like, some of the responsibilities were probably greater than what the pay scale was at that point. And that got me a lot of networking opportunities, if nothing else. And I've still got friends down there in the Charlotte area from when I was there that, I talk to on a weekly basis. I mean, one of my best friends in the world is on my podcast right now. And if it weren't for that opportunity, this wouldn't be happening. So I'm grateful for it. We'll go back to that initial couple months, because it was kind of fun. We had an empty building and we were going to build this thing out and make it sweet. And this is when I found out that I know one of the most skilled and like God-given ability type people when it comes to carpentry. Because we built those shelves. That supply company's been out of business for what, like 5 or 6 years now. I bet those shelves are probably still there. They probably still got the sweet lights. Probably didn't even take the tools down. I mean, that was how awesome that was. But we've gone on, and since then we went from being young to slightly below middle aged, I guess, at this point.
No, you are middle aged.
Oh, dude.
It's all right.
No, I plan on living to be about 160, so I'm not even close yet. I'm like quarter age.
Oh, so you haven't even had the midlife crisis yet, huh?
No, dude, I'm not going to have a midlife crisis. Heck, the second I have that, I'll probably get hit by a bus, you know? I don't need to know when my life is at its midway point. I haven't had it yet. So this is great because when we started, like I said, we were having fun down there. We had a little bit different lifestyle than we do now.
Yeah.
You, my friend, have grown probably more than anybody I've ever known in my entire life. And I think that all started, maybe just a little bit after we parted ways with the roofing supply, but you met somebody who changed your life, and
Yeah.
I was extremely honored to be present at your wedding and your baby shower. I might be the only person on the face of the earth that flew from Texas to Charlotte to go to a baby shower, but I did. And it was a great honor. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, your family life, how things have evolved, and how you've grown from being a single dude out there having fun to a father that's very respectable, responsible, and, taking care of your family like nobody else can.
Well, thank you for the kind words. Really just like you said, I met someone that changed my life, and she kind of gave me a little more motivation to do better and not just work a 9 to 5, so to speak. Not that my hours were ever 9 to 5, because there were plenty of months and weeks that I was working 2 or 3 jobs, side jobs, and working 60, 70 hours a week, and not really getting to enjoy the quote unquote fruits of my labor. And even though there weren't that many fruits, even though there was that much effort and that much time put into it. And after I had my first child with Ashley, my current wife, she had already had a daughter from her previous marriage. So I had already been thrown into the dad role pretty quick on. But I think that kind of prepared me for the mentality of, I'm not really going to do for others so that they can succeed. I'm going to do for myself so that I can succeed. And I think becoming a father really sparked my need to get out of the working by the hour mentality and, working for myself, doing something that either one, I could be with my family more, or one, do it from home where I never even have to leave. And I've made many attempts, whether it's a job that I could do on the road and do sales, and I've tried. I did it for years, going from one job to another, and finally realizing that if I don't bite the bullet and do something for myself without anyone telling me how to do it, that I'm never really going to be happy. So I took that hard work mentality that I've had since, me and Chuck met, if not sooner. I got my first job when I was 14. So I took that, and I tried to start a company with something that I knew very well. As Chuck mentioned before, I was really good with wood. I was a great carpenter. I was able to use that skill to create nice pieces that people wanted to buy. And the business was doing fairly well until my partner in the business wanted to go a different direction. So we decided to just dissolve it and move on to the next thing, which goes to show that even if you are doing something you love, that you're passionate about, it doesn't always mean it's going to work out. There's still so many other factors that go into being successful. And I think everything that you learn along the way, from the jobs you've had to the people you've encountered, kind of prepare you for that end result. And that's ultimately what it did for me. I went my own way from him, and I looked at it as not just what I want to do that's going to make me happy, something that I enjoy doing, but something that's going to be successful and has other pieces that go with it to be able to make it possible. So ultimately it ended me where I'm at now. There's no hiding it at this point. Cannabis is one of the biggest industries in our country. And from a young kid who was just smoking pot, I've always been interested in it. And now I have the opportunity where I'm an owner of a hemp farm with 3 other people, including my wife, my cousin, and a young gentleman that I met here in Charlotte. And we have an opportunity to do something that we're all passionate about, something that we've all wanted to do, but it's always been kind of too far-fetched, out of reach, not realistic. And, we started off just like anyone else would, with the dirt in the ground and a seed. And, now we're looking forward to next year and the following years of growth and getting more land and really blooming it to be able to once again do something that I love. And now hopefully this time have all the other pieces around it to be able to make it successful.
Man, I love that. So you've gotten into this whole space, right? That's maybe a little controversial to some. To me, it's not at all. And I know what you're doing is 100% on board with, what we've got going on in the world and some of the things that you can help produce there. But like, how exactly how did you get into that space? Like what kind of work goes into starting a hemp farm? I mean, as far as just making it legit, and you know, what kind of clientele do you have, and what kind of purpose do they utilize your products for?
Well, this being our first year, technically, we don't have any clientele really. We're just now in the middle of our first full harvest. So the next 3 to 6 months will really show what, the beginning of the business will actually be. Right now, we've just been, investing the money, investing the time, making sure that everyone's playing their role, whether it's getting our name out there on social media or actually working in the farm. Everyone's playing their part to make sure that when we're able to put a product out there, that we will have clientele that's already looking at us and following our story and how we've been doing it. So we try and be extremely transparent so that everyone sees how it's grown, everything that's going on with it, so that when we finally do come to market, nothing's a secret, nothing's needing to be learned. They already know it all. So no clientele yet, but it's been quite the journey, and a lot of networking has occurred over the last 10 months that we've really been hard on it. And I do see that the future of this industry is going to be huge. And just to be a small little niche in it is what we like. And I feel like getting started now before it goes legal on a full scale across the country, and then everybody's trying to do it. It's just getting in before the huge rush, basically.
Yeah, definitely. So what's your target clientele going to be? Are you shooting for like industrial type stuff, or what? I guess I'm kind of in the dark. You're an expert on this, so I'll let you kind of explain the whole concept, and how it's going to ultimately be, like the biggest thing that's ever happened in our world.
I would like to think it, because it does have so many health benefits. Our main goal is to be a health oriented grow. We don't want to do it for the recreational reasons. We want to do it for the people who actually need what the plant has to provide. And we go much past just the hemp plant. We also grow organic produce, and we can our own goods to, be able to provide that niche product for those people who don't want to go and buy from the big stores. They want something that they know is grown locally. And that's kind of the business model that we're following, and trying to stay in our own lane that we're very familiar with, to make sure that we do it correctly and with respect to not only the plant, but the industry itself, because there's a lot of companies out there that are really just doing it for the money and for the fact that it's clout. They can brag about it that they're doing it, and it's not what it was intended for. We want it to be medicinal. We feel that it has too many health benefits for some people to just say, hey, this is something fun. Like, no, nothing about the industry is fun unless you love what you're doing. But the actual outcome that we're getting from these plants is really changing people's lives. And I guess that's ultimately what drew me towards it, because not only was I interested in marijuana in general, but as you've known since the day you met me, I'm, a good-hearted person. I'd like to think I like to do for others and make sure that every step of my journey doesn't just benefit me, that all those people around me and next to me are taking that step with me. So to be able to provide a product and things for other people that is truly possible to change their lives and help them live a better life, well, then I'm all about it, especially because I'm not really doing too much to make that happen. Mother Earth is doing it. She's making the plant grow, and I just have people overseeing the process.
Funny how that works, isn't it? A lot of people are, up in arms about this kind of stuff. But to me, I think there's tremendous value. I'm with you. The benefits in, you're not putting out gas station quality like CBD and stuff like that you can go down the street and buy. This stuff is like high end, legitimate. I don't know anybody that's more legit as far as like going all in on quality than this gentleman here. So it's going to be the best of the best. And what does it look like inside the corporation? I mean, everybody's got their own roles, I'm sure. Do you guys have it broken up into, like production and, inside type stuff and shipping and receiving? And I'm sure there's a whole big business plan there. What's that look like?
Right now, the business plan has more of an outlook than what's actually functioning, because like I said, we're just now getting into the busy part where we're going to harvest and we're going to put out a line of products, and we're going to see what our needs are as far as staffing. Because right now we're basically a skeleton crew. It's myself doing anything behind the scenes as far as networking, meeting extraction companies, getting the labels done and getting packaging and, all the behind the scenes stuff. And then my wife, Ashley, she is our CEO, and she handles basically all our public stuff. She does all the social media. She's going to be the face of the company, so to speak. She'll be doing all of our lives when we do them, and introducing all the people that we're doing business with and things like that. So she'll be very much on the social media front and keeping in line the financial aspect of it and making sure what needs to be ordered for inventory and things like that, we have it. She heads up our produce section with our canning. So her and another one of our employees do that. And it's a very small niche thing. We don't produce a lot, and it's for a very small market. We're just trying to build it slowly so that we don't overgrow our britches, so to speak. I don't want to have too many people waiting on what we're doing. We're trying to grow at a reasonable rate that we can handle it and not ever get in over our heads. And then we have our two growers at the farm, Clayton and Dimitri. Clayton I met through another young gentleman that I'm in business with in my graphic design company, which I'm sure we'll touch on later. And him and my cousin, his name also Dimitri, they basically handle everything at the farm. Clayton's our head grower, and Dimitri is our chief of operations. He oversees the daily tasks for what the employees are doing, and he's responsible to make sure that we have everything at the farm that we need as far as tools, equipment, fertilizers, whatever it is that we're going to need. He's in charge of that, and Clayton basically does the research and everything to do with the plant. He's making sure that we're at the right pH level and we're on the right watering schedule, and we're harvesting at the right time. So he's more the bookworm, making sure he does the research to know which strains are going to get us the most production. And as we go through our first grow now, he's taking notes and seeing which things are working, which things aren't working, what we have to change, what we can expand on next year, what we need to reel it back with. Because just like any business, when you start it, you get really excited about all these different things that you can do. And then when you start doing them, you kind of realize like, hey, we're kind of stretching ourselves thin. This one aspect is doing a little bit better for us than this other avenue that we thought would do good, but it's just not. So this year has been a lot of note taking, lesson learning, and all that at some points could be discouraging because it's things that you're doing that you're thinking are going to be successful. And then there ends up being, I don't want to say a failure, but a bump in the road, something that causes you to have to change your plan, and the outcome's obviously going to be different. So it's been difficult. All of us having our own part coming together helps, but it's still hard being a first time grow to just feel it all out and figure the things out as we go. It's been fun at times. We get to spend a lot of time together, and if people follow us on social media, whoever hasn't been and does after this, if you go back and look at up to this point, everyone's always smiling at the farm. And I feel like out of everything, I know our products are going to help people, but I really like the fact that people enjoy coming to work at something that, me and people close to me started, because plenty of jobs you've had, I'm sure. And I know most of the jobs that I've had up to this point, I was never truly happy to go to work. Yeah. There was times where me and you had a good time, but ultimately we were like, shit, man, we're at fucking work. This kind of sucks. I'd rather not be here. But I feel like I've provided an atmosphere that my employees enjoy being at, and they don't mind the blood, sweat, and tears, because, two of my biggest employees are also part owners of the farm. So they're invested. They're not just doing it for a paycheck. They're doing it for the same reasons that I'm doing it.
Yeah, and that's the same model we've got over here with Rio Blanco. I've got two partners in this company who basically funded the entire thing, and then I came and I'm the managing partner, as one of our former colleagues used to refer to himself, the managing partner of the deal. But you're right. It's so much easier and more fun to build something and kind of see your vision develop. The roofing company for me, it's far exceeded what I ever even expected at this point. Going from zero back in 2019. I mean, March 2019, I drove into an empty building in San Antonio. Here we are 2.5 years later. We've got 3 offices, really starting to pick up a lot of momentum in all these different markets. And it's a deal where, we focus on personal development. Obviously, you're doing something that you absolutely love. For me, it's one of those deals. I mean, I've never met anybody that absolutely loves roofing. Like, oh my God, shingles are my life. And that's me. I'm not, I love the camaraderie of this industry. I love the people that are in it. I love building the relationships and making friendships. I went golfing 2 days ago on a PGA course with a national sales manager for a major roofing manufacturer. And it's like, dude, I'm supposed to be a truck driver. I'm supposed to be delivering these shingles. What's going on here? But the evolution has been amazing. And we love to stress to our teams and the way that our culture is built that, none of us ever have to get up and go to work. We get to get up and go to work, and I feel that way. I'm just, me for over a decade. I'm insane, man. Like, I've been here in my office since 5:45 this morning for no real reason, just other than I got up and it was like, okay, I need to go do something. So yeah, I've been doing my stuff. I've had it, my get done list has been done for a long time. And I just really enjoy it. This is so much fun. I love seeing the culture that you guys have developed at such a short period of time and that family atmosphere, because honestly, it is family as well. That's a cool deal. I guess the $1 million question is this. This is an industry that you're getting into that I believe is going to obviously just explode over the next 20 plus years, if given the opportunity, which I hope it is, because we all know how stuff works in the world. If it doesn't make money for certain people, then it's illegal or it's not good. Right.
Yeah.
Have you had any kind of blowback from anybody? I mean, I know Charlotte is kind of a mixed community as far as views and political things go. Have you had anybody that's, giving you any kind of blowback, any kind of grief, any kind of hard times about what you're trying to build? We know that there's nothing controversial, but to me, it almost equates to like, you're opening a strip club in the neighborhood or something, and there's going to be one or two people that are going to look at you and say, dude, wait a minute. Like, this is the devil's lettuce and all that crap. And we know that's not real, but have you seen anything like that to this point? Or is that something you anticipate in any way?
You always have to anticipate it as a business owner in something that is controversial. You always have to anticipate, or else you're not prepared. And if you're not prepared, you are technically prepared to fail. So I'm definitely anticipating some blowback at some point. The only thing we've actually had in the last, almost year that we've been functioning, is I think there was one person who commented on our social media when me and Ashley brought the girls to the hemp farm and they were walking through around the plants, and they said, I think they asked if it was appropriate for them to be there. And, just very politely just said, yeah, I mean, of course it's appropriate. They're our children. It's our farm. And these are healthy products. These are healthy plants that are meant for medicinal purposes. So I don't see where there would be a problem. Outside of that, there's nothing. I haven't ran into. I think more people are very interested more than anything. I mean, I think when people see me out wearing, my Garden of Panacea shirt, they want to know what it is, and then they see the back, and our slogan is not your average garden, because we don't just garden stuff that you eat. We obviously garden stuff that you smoke and can turn into other products that are very beneficial to the human system. So I do anticipate blowback, but I don't really anticipate it until THC becomes legal across the board, and then there'll be groups that are against it, but they're the same groups that are against it now. It's just going to be on a larger scale. I mean, it's the story of time. For every good thing, there's always going to be a Lex Luthor trying to bring it down. There's always going to be a bad guy that's trying to give the good thing a bad name, because they don't know another way. They don't know how to open their mind and see that there's another way of life, that, hey, not everyone has to do things the old school way or do things the way that you do them. So it is anticipated for blowback. I'll be super happy if it never comes, but just like I said, I'd be a fool to not be prepared for it. But that's also kind of why we want to stay as a small boutique grow. We don't ever have a business plan of getting past what we can have our hands on, because as soon as it gets past what you can physically touch as an owner, you, no matter what, lose quality. Even if your quality is still the best in the industry, it's not as good as it was when it was just the small enough operation for you to put your finger on everything that comes and goes. Because at that point, you care about it more than anybody that you're going to put in charge, no matter how much you pay them, because like I said from the beginning, I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing it because I love doing it. I care about it. The people that I'm involved in my business with, they love doing it. They care about it. So once you bring someone in that's doing it for a dollar amount, they may be the best in the industry and they may do it better than anybody else besides you because it's not theirs.
Yep, it's all heart. I've noticed that about everything in life. You know, with the roofing company, it's the same thing. As we grew, I went from 1 to 3 branches, and the biggest transition for me, which my mentors were very, very, you know, hands on with me, and they let me know, hey, dude, you need to do this. Is you have to be able to let go. You have to be able to delegate and trust that things are going to go right. And when they go right, it's awesome. I've got 3 locations, and 2 of them are running like champs right now. You know, my manager down in San Antonio, I'm already planning on how I'm going to bring him to the next level when we continue to build. But I have 3, and I just said 2 of them are running like champs. You know, the third one walked away for a little bit and you know, kind of let things develop naturally. And, you know, like you said, nobody's going to ever care as much as you do about your own deal, your own business. While I did not invent this company, Rio Blanco, I mean, I lived in my office for 6 weeks when it was an empty building, and I moved to a town where I'd been one time in my life for like an hour. So it's my baby and I'm taking care of it. And I can appreciate what you're saying there. I'm going for a different look though. I'm trying to make it a national deal, and I want to have 500 people underneath doing all the stuff. And whether we get there or not, who knows? We'll see. That's going to be my game plan and my effort. But we're also looking at branching off into some other things as well. I've got a couple really promising prospects and projects that we're getting ready to get kicked off. And, you know, at some point I want to be like you, a multifaceted entrepreneur who's got multiple businesses he's running. And I can't wait to see yours go and just blow up, because I know it is a labor of love. And I see the involvement that your family has in the business. And that's Dimitri right there. Like, this dude is the family guy. Like, and I love watching that because, you know, it hasn't always been that way. I've seen you since, you know, you were a young guy and you've grown up into this, and it just makes me so proud to see, because I know you're going to kill it, dude. Because
thank you.
It's what you do, man. It's what you do.
I appreciate that, Chuck. Thank you.
Yeah, shit, you know it. We talked just for a split second about your other business you've got. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your diversification in the entrepreneurial world, some of the other things you've got going on, some of the things that you've, you know, produced, and some of the things you're going to be producing to continue to grow both of your brands and become just a freaking worldwide force. One day we're going to probably buy an island or something, and we'll take my private jet out to your private island and go fishing for a day. What do you say?
That sounds good to me.
Nice.
Yeah, the other business venture I got into after I dissolved the woodworking business that I had met a young gentleman through some friends who was already doing his own thing. He had his own little t-shirt company, and he was doing graphic design. And we crossed paths by chance, and I was just really impressed by how this young gentleman carried himself. He impressed me more so than I thought I impressed myself at that age. And you know me, at that age, I was very full of myself.
You were pretty impressed with yourself at one point. Yes, sir.
So when I saw how well this kid carried himself, and he was very down to earth, so mature for his age. He was only 19 when I met him. And like I said, at 19, he had already started his own company, had already had, you know, a small line of clothing that he was trying to do. And, you know, at this point, just knowing that, I'm like, all right, so this kid's obviously living on his own already and all this, but he was living at home doing this out of his bedroom at his parents' house. And he was succeeding with the most minimal opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, he had no help except his own blood, sweat, and tears, and he was making it happen. He wasn't getting rich, but he was doing it, and he was working a job to make sure that he still had an income. So he was doing it right. And I was just beyond blown away by this 19-year-old kid who just had it all figured out almost, you know? And I knew at that point in time, I was like, if I'm smart as I think I am, I will do something with this kid and make sure that I harness this ability that he has, whether it's graphic design or, you know, working out at the farm, because he actually helped us at the farm in the winter when we were getting prepared, on top of doing the graphic design company. So, you know, he really showed me how multifaceted he was. And, you know, that really just day in and day out, he impresses me. So after I met this kid, I basically told him, hey, listen, I've been saving up for a while. At this point, I had dissolved everything from the woodworking business. I sold all the equipment, our inventory. So I had a nice little chunk of change to be able to invest in something else. And, I have everybody in one ear telling me, oh, buy Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, do this. And I don't know. I was just more so of I want to be able to put my hands on my investment and have control of it and be involved with it and make it something that I can be proud of. And I saw how hard this kid was working and how, motivated he was, that I wanted to do something with him. So I took that money that I had. I told him to dissolve his business that he had started, and we started a company together doing graphic design, product manufacturing, things like that. And that's right here. Raw to Real Custom Manufacturing and Design. And, we basically just help companies brand their business. We keep it simple, and we have plenty of avenues that we're looking to go down with the company. Right now, our main focus is screen printing, heat pressing ink for t-shirts, vinyl work. But as we get more clients, we're starting to network more and find people that need things on a larger scale. So, we've only been open in business for a little bit over a year now. I'd say about a year and 3 months, 4 months, something like that. And, we're already looking at a bigger facility, because right now we're just working out of my garage and we're using this shed that I'm in right now for storage. So things are going well because this kid operates. He does everything himself. I don't have to come in and, ask him what he's doing today. Like, I check on him maybe once a week, only because he's in the garage and because I come out there, or else I probably wouldn't have as much communication with him, because he handles dealing with all the customers. Even if I am out and I meet somebody and I send them his way, he handles it. It's not like I'm really running the business. He really does it all. He has employees that he keeps track of their schedules and, puts them on the schedule when he needs them, to make sure that we're not paying someone to be there when we don't need them. And, he keeps up with everything. He does the financials. He handles the bank deposits, cutting checks to vendors. Like, it was a no-brainer for me. When I saw this kid doing everything he was doing for himself with nothing, I gave him everything he needed, and now he's operating at the highest level, and the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah, man, that is an amazing story right there. And I know you guys have done some work for Rio Blanco. You've done some work for our parent company as well, little graphic things. We haven't really gotten to tap into like working together on a full scale yet, but you guys get the stuff done quick, man, and it's on its way. And all my magazines for my company were done through your company, and looks awesome, man. I love it. So I have a lot of people that watch this show that are like, different trades, a lot of roofers, obviously, because that's kind of my base. But if any of my people are looking to get a hold of you, and I'm telling you guys right now, I'm looking right at the camera. This is the guy you want to work with. Yes. Like, your stuff will be sweet. I'm not even going to kid you. Like, Dimitri does not mess with like inferior quality. He brings only the best. If I've got like a higher level friend, that owns a great company and they want to get like super high end stuff that's going to really separate them from everybody else in their market, how do they get a hold of you guys and make it happen?
You can get in touch with us through social media. Obviously, I just put up our QR code. I'll try and hold that still as best I can. If you just scan that, it'll bring you to our online business card that has all our information, our website, which has pricing on it directly. So right there, that's our Popple QR code. And again, the company is Raw to Real. If you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, greatly appreciate the follow, and any business you can bring our way. We love helping other companies, brand their business. That's kind of our motto. We help you brand your business the right way, put you in something that fits your business motto, something that, it doesn't always have to be Vistaprint. Everyone wants to use that and get some cookie cutter thing. And, we don't have to print it for you. We can just design it differently for you so that, like Chuck said, you putting yourself apart from the rest. You don't want to just fall in line with everybody. That's not how you get to the top. You got to branch off, take the more difficult route, do something a little bit extra to show everybody that, you're putting in the extra and that they're the one, you're the one that they should choose, regardless of what it is that you're doing. Because realistically, when you're in business for yourself or you're a manager somewhere, like, you are selling yourself and not just selling your product. I don't pick my vendor by who's going to give me the best price. I pick my vendor by who's going to do the most for me, who's going to make sure I get my order when I need it, who's going to pick up my phone call when I call. Those are the things that are worth their weight in gold. It's not always a dollar amount that's going to make or break it. And I know you know this firsthand in the roofing industry, because I remember working with you back at the unnamed roofing supply house that, you know, we had a lot of contractors come in and they just, their response to, you know, when we would ask, oh, what brand of this do you want? Just the cheapest one, the cheapest one. And those are the guys that we saw for 2-3 months and then we didn't see anymore, because when you're just going for the cheapest and you're just trying to get the price, one, you're not doing the best job. And two, you're not getting the best customers, because the customer that always wants the cheapest, they're not always the ones that are going to pay their bill.
Man, I just did a podcast on that about 2 weeks ago. It was called $1 Million Mindset, and that's exactly what I was talking about. And I did one last week about ignoring red flags with bad customers, because you hit the nail on the head, man. What fun is it? I mean, I remember we had people down there that, like, I would be getting phone calls from guys and they'd be threatening me, like, if you don't release this material, you know, this dude owes me $100,000 and he's got no prospects, and he says, if you don't release me this, you know, this extra $5,000 in material, I'm going to go out of business. Well, dude, where is my motivation on that? Because you just basically told me you don't have my money. And that's what this industry's got. You know, there's a definite, there are levels in everything, but I mean, in roofing, especially, you saw it. The people that were buying the cheap stuff, they didn't care. They were just trying to, you know, either maximize profits or had no loyalty to anything whatsoever. I've branded my company the same exact way you're doing yours. You know, I'm loyal to manufacturers that have been good to me for years. Mm-hmm. When we were at, you know, CCRS or whatever that thing was called. Yeah.
We're getting closer and closer to saying the name every time.
When we were at Capital City Roofing Supply in Charlotte, North Carolina, we sold Atlas shingles and Certainteed, right? Yep. And when I left that, I went to Texas, where I've been ever since 2012. And I started off with Certainteed because that was the one that I was loyal to, and they were good to me for many years. When I got the opportunity to get my own business here, I went with Atlas because I've been with Atlas for like 17 years. I've seen their products evolve. I know that they listen to the input of the contractors. They care about quality. And, you know, that's huge to me. I tell people, you know, I actually turned down a job today because a guy wanted me to put an inferior product on his house. And I just told him straight up, like, my reputation is more important to me than a sale. Like, yeah, if somebody saw me putting this on your house,
I may lose more sales down the line.
Yeah, I have to live with that, man. I can't sleep at night knowing that I'm not doing the best that I can possibly do for my clients. So the dude was a little upset, but I think he kind of understood too, because it was like, hey, man, what you're wanting is something that there are a whole bunch of people out here that are willing to get. And they're willing to do it for dirt cheap for you, man. You could probably get someone to give you money to let them do it. But I'm not that guy. I don't want to deal with it anymore. I mean, I think a lot of our problems were that we had those people that just weren't responsible. You know, who wants to work with clients that aren't going to pay their bills? I've never enjoyed that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a good situation you find yourself in, because you can now determine exactly who you work with. You can pick your perfect clientele. You can pick your prospects, and you don't have to deal with all the BS. You know, I tell everybody in here, just because someone calls in because they saw your truck or your reputation is stellar, which ours is, we're 5.0. That doesn't mean that you have to work with them. They like you. That doesn't mean you have to like them. 100%. And every time we talk to a client, it is an interview on both sides of the deal. You know, I found it took me a lot of, you know, knocks to the side of the face and picking myself up off the floor after getting my ass kicked by some people to realize I wasn't doing anybody any favors by just taking every single person I could get. The ones that are not going to want to work with you over quality are the ones you need to ignore, because like you said, they're not going to pay their bills. They're going to be the ones that just want the absolute lowest quality thing for the least amount of money. And those are the ones you got to jump through the hoops for the most, because for whatever reason, they feel like they're more important than the people that actually pay. So
and I can respect.
What's that?
And then they're never happy.
Never happy. Well, I'm on a podcast. I don't know if I should tell this story, but I will. I don't care. I'll tell it. So I got a customer, and she will remain nameless. He or she will remain nameless, that's down in San Antonio. And we did this deal. I brought a new salesman on probably about a year and a half ago. It was 17 months ago. Exactly. I know when it was. 17 months ago, I brought a new guy on, right? And a sales rep, when they first start, they want to set the tempo. They want to show you that they can get these deals done. They want to go out and just start, just nailing down deals left and right. And most of the time, they don't really take into consideration the fact that there could be issues. It's more like, hey, look, I got a contract. I got another one. I got another one. Well, I was responsible for this because I was training a new guy in my office, and we went out to a lady's house or gentleman's house, I should say. It was a lady. We got up there, and there was some damage, so we're going to help. Advised her on how to go about taking care of the insurance process, and we'll help you throughout this entire thing. Do all this work, man. Like the hoops I had to jump through were insane for this, right? And it ended up being a really, really, really small job, which I am not in any way disparaging that. I'll work with anybody as long as, it looks like a good fit. At the moment, this appeared to be a good fit, but we fast forward 17 months to last week. I got a phone call from a lady that's threatening me that she's going to put me on the news and social media this and Facebook and terrible reviews, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, we did this roof a year and a half ago. What's the problem today, right? Well, the problem today was it was getting hot in the house, and for some reason, I guess the roof decided to wait 16 or 17 months to start becoming a problem with heat stain in her house. The fact of the matter is the air conditioner was broken, but it's a lot easier to blame it on someone else. And the fact is, it was a tiny job. We have had nothing but issues for 17 months. I've never had a human being call and cuss at me and use the F word like that. But it sure happened a lot. And I tell my guys now, it's like, this is our fault because we put ourselves there. I knew what the situation was when I was doing all these additional steps to try and help somebody. And I was getting all the tells of, man, this is going to be bad, but I ignored them. And boy, I'm so sorry that I did that. Being in a position to control your own fate is huge. I've worked at other companies where I didn't always feel like I wanted to, let jobs go. I wanted to get as much as I could for the company. And then after the fact, you realize, man, I wish I would have not done some of those because, your time, your energy, and the money that you don't really get in these deals is just, it's not worth it. So I'm envious of you because you've got two opportunities where you literally get to choose who you work with. You get to pick your clients. You get to work with people that are going to pay you on time, that are going to be good to you, that are going to be loyal. And man, there's something to be said for that. So congratulations.
The reason that, we get to have those kinds of customers, and I'm sure you have several of those yourselves, is that you provide something that only those types of customers actually appreciate. So when you do the right things and you run your business in a way that, you would want to do business with someone else that runs it that way, then you kind of attract those types of people. I mean, it's pretty basic, as far as build it and they shall come. I don't really feel that there's too much more that goes into it besides doing the right thing. I mean, it really does boil down to that simple phrase. If you do the right thing every step of every day, there's no way you can fail.
Yeah, no. And it's having your heart in the right place. And you've said it many times already. It's not about the money. I think when people get caught up in money that, they totally lose sight of the real purpose. And yesterday was a great example. I had a lady gave me a referral to her neighbor, and I didn't even do the lady's roof. She had another company in town do her roof. She referred me over the other company. And the fact of the matter is, the reason why she did it is because about a month after the fact, I hired her son, who was like 12 years old, 11, something like that, to pick up some nails on some job sites for me. I saw a little post on the Nextdoor app, right? So I reached out to her. I knew she'd gone with another company, but I thought, hey, man, there's an 11-year-old kid that's trying to make money for school clothes, whatever he was trying to do during the summer. I hired her son. I paid him a little bit more than what he was asking. And dude, she referred me to her neighbor. She said, this is the guy you want to work with. You don't want to work with the people that put my roof on, because the people that put my roof on were roofers. That's all they cared about was the stupid roof. And once the roof was done, they were gone with the wind, and you never see or hear from them again. With us, I build relationships. I want to do things that are going to help our community. I love helping other people achieve things that they don't know that they're capable of. And that's really what my whole purpose with this is. Obviously, I've been in the industry now 23 years. I've seen everything. You know that as well as I do. I've seen all kinds of stuff, man. And I'm at the stage where I want to give back. I want to take people that are 21, 22 years old, where I was when I started, and, kind of flatten that learning curve a little bit, help them with my experience. I want to teach people how to be extremely successful, but it all starts with your reasons. If you're doing it for a paycheck, it's very obvious. You're almost invisible. People can see right through you. So when you do things for the right purpose, I've got a lady who's not my customer. She's advocating all through her neighborhood for me because I made her son feel good. We sell emotions. We don't sell products. The fact is, dude, anybody can print a t-shirt, right? Anybody can throw shingles up on a roof. So what really separates us is who we are as people, the reasons behind why we're doing what we're doing, the way that we deliver and over deliver constantly every single time. And just the fact that we're doing it because we're wanting to help others. We're not here for a paycheck. The money takes care of itself, man. If you saw where I live, dude, you'd laugh. It's ridiculous. I live on a golf course. Like, I don't have a high school education. I live on a golf course. I mean, God bless America, because if you do things the right way and you go out and you're willing to work for it, it's there. Too many people are just dependent on someone else to provide for them. I think this whole mentality that we have being entrepreneurs of, hey, man, if I don't go out and slay it, dude, my lights aren't going to be on, or I'm not going to eat. And, I've got my goal ultimately is for my company, Rio Blanco. It's not a monetary deal. I want to feed 5,000 mouths every single month out of my company, whether that's employees, their families, the roofing crews, their families. I want to feed 5,000 mouths a month out of my business, Rio Blanco. And if I can get to that point, it's going to be a huge success. It's going to be goodness. I mean, to get 5,000 people, that's $100 million company, right? So I'm not focused on the money. I'm focused on the purpose, and the money always follows.
Exactly. Like I said, if you're doing the right thing, you're doing right by the people that are putting in the work to get you to where you want to be. It's keeping your circle happy. I mean, you don't want to progress and have your circle be behind you, because then they can't help you when you get to where you're going. If you don't bring those people to where you're going when you get there, you're ultimately not going to stay there very long. You're going to fall back down. You don't build a building brick by brick, as they say, and putting all this effort without workers. And then if you have them build this building and then you're like, all right, can you leave so that I can live in this building now? You're eventually going to lose that building. It's going to need maintenance. It's going to need things to be paid. You have to have people around you that can help. And I don't mean it literally as, an actual house that people help to fix. It's the whole empire that you build, whether it's one place, whether it's 6 places, whether it's one company, whether it's 3, all the people that are involved with that, as they're just as important as you. And if you don't see it that way, well, then you're never going to succeed. Because if you always see yourself as better than the people that are working for you or with you, well, then, you're only going to go as far as you can take yourself. And I don't care how motivated you are as an individual, you can only get so far by yourself. And, perfect example is the young kid, David, that I'm doing the graphic design business with. He was motivated as hell, super talented, without the help of someone who had the ability to provide him with the things he needed to really excel. He may not have gotten to where he's at right now in this amount of time. I don't doubt that he would have gotten there, but it wouldn't have happened within a year of meeting me. It would have been, a significant time after, just because that's reality. And not everyone gets these opportunities, but the people who get them and take advantage of them, just like you had the opportunity to pack everything up and move to, halfway across the country. And instead of playing it safe and like, no, I'm just going to find a job around here so I can get my bills paid, you said, yeah, fuck it, leave, go do something new. I'm all about it. And look where you are now.
Having fun. I'll tell you that really triggered something in my head, what you were just saying. I was at a conference last week in Orlando, RoofCon, which is like, it's a bunch of roofers at a convention. I guess the title kind of sums it up, but it's not I always tell people the roofing industry is not what people perceive it to be outside of, the industry. This is some of the most high level training, education. I was there with Ed Milet. I don't know if you're familiar with Ed Milet, but he's like one of the greatest speakers on the face of the earth. And he's a guy who's so rich he doesn't have to do any of it, but he does it because that's where his heart is. Same thing with John Maxwell. John Maxwell is known worldwide as like the industry, or like the worldwide leader for leadership, right? These guys are just showing up and they're like, hey, we're here because you're here. You guys are putting in this effort. We don't think we're any better than you, but we think, Ed Milet, who's got hundreds of millions of dollars. I think he was talking about, he had 3 mansions that were all over 30 million a piece, right? So this dude's got some money. He makes it happen. I'm sitting 10 feet away from him, and it's like, dude, man, these are just normal people. So that whole mindset of, I'm the boss, I'm the guy in charge, so outdated, so stupid. But there are a ton of people that still have that mindset, and they're just never going to change. But what really came to my mind when you said that was a quote, and he said, it's only lonely at the top if you don't bring people with you. And to me, that hit so hard, because it was like, dude, I know people who are like that. I know people who to your face are going to tell you they want you to do well, but secretly they want you to completely fail because they suck as human beings. And I'm not that guy. I never have been. I mean, there's a few people that I don't like, and if they fail, so what? I'll laugh at them and haha. But most people that are fairly cool, I try to be good with them. I try to help as many people as I possibly can, not just with my business, but I mean, anything. I hired the little kid. He wanted $20 to pick up nails. I gave him $50. Made his summer. Now his mom's telling everybody about us, right? And I've got one guy in my office that's my first guy that I hired, Jeremy, down in San Antonio. I hired him when I had an empty building. I was literally still living in the office, which I never told anybody really the extent, but I lived in my office for like 6 weeks, dude. I slept in the truck out in the shop, and we had internet. I didn't have any furniture. I had nothing, but I could stream movies and stuff. So it was cool. I hired this guy based on the dream, and it was like, hey, man, I'm going to build this company, and I want to bring like-minded people who have maybe not had the opportunity yet, or they had the opportunity and it wasn't quite right, like myself. And I want to put a team together that can build something so unbelievable that you'll never want to leave. You're just going to want to be a part of it for life. And, it was tough. I interviewed a bunch of people, but this one guy, he was like, dude, let's go. Let's do this right now. I met him at a restaurant because I didn't even have anything in my office. I didn't have a chair, dude. Like, so I hired a guy based on the dream, and he's been with us since, the very first guy that I hired. And we were talking about this last night. It's like, dude, because of what you've done, being there when I needed somebody the most, and being someone I could count on, somebody that was dependable, someone that was highly professional, one of the best sales reps in the country now. He's not even selling, he's managing my offices. But I vowed at that point, I said, you're coming in here at the time when I need someone the most. You're the person that I needed the most, and you were there for me. And therefore, every single step I take, I'm dragging your ass up with me, and they're building teams. My guys in my offices are building teams, and they're doing the same thing. It's like, hey, let's build ourselves up, and then let's build another layer up, and then let's build another. And we keep going upward, and we're bringing these guys with us and gals. And there's just nothing more rewarding than that. I hate being the guy that's the boss. I've never been I've never been an authoritarian. You know me, I'm a clown. We have fun. We joke around a bunch. Obviously being in a position that I'm at now, that's one of those things that had to come into play, is you have to be able to, lay the smack down every once in a while, which I'm not afraid to do that. I'll do it. Because I know that it's for the greater good, and I know that it's benefiting many, many more people. You can't accept people's mediocrity at this point, because there are people that are on my side that do not accept mediocrity, and it would be unfair to them for me to allow it. So I respect that. I respect the work ethic. I respect what you guys bring, because I know how hard you work, dude. Probably the hardest working guy I've ever known. And seeing that develop, and seeing it go from, Dimitri, the guy that was running the forklift into the side of the building, driving our old boss crazy all the time, which I still laugh at. I was in Charlotte. I used to come visit Charlotte every year. I missed you guys this year at Christmas. And that's one thing I'll say. Me and D, we're buddies. I've gone down and visited his family at Christmas every year since we've worked together.
Yeah.
And I missed that this year. There was some stuff going on. I know you guys were traveling, but we're going to have to do that again starting next year. But I love the fact that after all these years, you know, we were the first two that started that little deal. Here we are 12 years later, hanging out on a podcast, talking about our own businesses, the things that we're doing to help the world. To me, it's almost unbelievable because I never saw it coming like this, but you get around the right people, you get around the right group, the mindset starts to shift a little bit and you realize, man, I've been leaving a lot on the table. I haven't been given everything that I possibly can. And once you get that opportunity, if you don't take advantage of it, man, you know, that's something you're going to regret. I know some people that are going to regret some bad decisions they made 6, 7, 8 months down the road, a year down the road, because they've made bad decisions today.
Yep.
But unfortunately, like I said, the train keeps rolling. You've got to focus on keeping the people that you want in your team happy and productive, because once one of them that's good goes to the bad side, man, there's no coming back. So keeping that good, positive attitude, that mindset, that productive, you know, the productive culture that you've got. And that's one thing that, you know, obviously you guys are producing at high levels already. I got to ask a question. We got to double back around to the hemp farm. Like, how big is the hemp farm? Like, acreage wise, what are you looking at? I've never seen this thing. I have no idea what's going on. I picture like the Trailer Park Boys, where they're out in the middle of a field in Canada and there's like thousands of acres of plants everywhere. And like these little raccoons are eating all their stuff and they're getting mad. But obviously yours is a controlled environment.
Yeah.
What kind of size are you looking at? What kind of land and what kind of operations does it take to get something like that going to where it's actually going to be efficient and can make money while also producing it at the maximum potential?
Well, that's actually like one of the biggest misconceptions. Like, you know, you just said like this huge field with all this stuff, and it's like, no, when you get that big, there's too many hands on it. So like I said, you get past what your hands can touch, then you have a problem, because then it's not up to your standards. So right now we are literally a 1 acre grow, and we are in the process of clearing 3 other acres on my current property to be able to move to once our lease is up where we're at. So we're going to go from a 1 acre grow to a 3 acre grow. And, you know, our business plan and what we agreed to as partners was, you know, that would basically be our limit, that we would do as much as those 3 acres could allow us to and keep that small niche market. Because, you know, on top of other reasons to do with, you know, what we believe the future of the industry may hold, we feel like having that sort of niche and being that small boutique grow that has loyal customers that are coming back week in and week out for the same products that they know help their everyday life. We want to be able to grab those people and hold on to them forever, because that's the clients we want. Like you were saying, you want to make sure you pick the people that you're doing business with as best as you possibly can. One, because, you know, you're only as good as the people that you keep around you. And two, you know, how many headaches do you really want to deal with? Do you want to sell someone a product who next week is going to come in and complain about that product and then buy another one of your products and then come back in a week and complain about it and then come in and buy another one? Eventually you're just going to tell them like, hey, listen, I'll take this one back, I'll return it, do me a favor, just don't shop here anymore.
Yeah, you're banned.
Yeah,
Like,
you know,
banning people. Sometimes you have to do that crap, right? I mean,
but it's also
complain.
a very fine line, because, you know, being a small business owner, you don't want to push away any business. But to become a big business or a successful business or one that's profitable or that you enjoy running, well, you have to have your limitations. And if you don't stand up for your own right, so to speak, what you believe is correct, then you're bound for failure.
Smack dab right in the middle of the face with that one. That's about as true as it gets. Man, I'll tell you what, you know, we've been talking for almost an hour here already. I definitely respect your time, and I wanted to see, is there anything else that you want to touch on that we haven't covered? Anything you've got going on, any future plans, anything, you know, anything? What are y'all doing for Christmas next year? You know, whatever you want to talk about.
Well, Chuck's coming to visit next year, so that's what we're doing for Christmas. Everyone heard it.
Absolutely.
Everyone is watching, so hold him accountable. Christmas
Pink,
2021, he better be here.
Pinky's West Side Grill on Moorhead Street. I haven't
No, it's
had any buffalo shrimp tacos in over a year.
we can talk about Pinkies because just last night, me and Ashley, my wife, we were sitting on the couch and she was hungry. She was ordering food and she looked at me. She's like, you know what we need is a cheat day at Pinkies. And I was just like, you know what? It's been a while. And then not even, 12, 13 hours later, here you are. Hey, man, let's go to Pinkies. So I'm going to go ahead and call and make a reservation. Even though I don't think they do that kind of thing, I'm going to call and make a reservation.
Yeah, you got to have some pimpin' fries, some freaking what's that? With cheer wine. I love cheer wine. That stuff's delicious. Can't get that down here in Texas very often. I found a couple spots in San Antonio, but
I shipped you some once.
Yes, and I absolutely love cheer wine. I remember I got that Krispy Kreme flavor one year when I came down for Christmas, and it was horrible. But cheer wine, man, that's one of those things. If you don't know, you don't know. But it's an amazing thing. Pinky's is outstanding. I think that's probably my favorite spot. Anybody that I ever talk to that's going to Charlotte that says, hey, where can I go? That's where you need to go. That's the place. And right down the street from where we almost got killed several times.
And it's in the city. It's not far from the airport. So anyone who's just stopping in, passing through, it's the perfect spot for sure.
Boom. Pinky should give us a little bit of a sponsorship deal for this one. I'm gonna tag him in our show notes.
Meal or something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. I'm wearing the shirt all over the place. I know the guy's name is Greg. All these years later, I got a shirt with his face on it, so that's pretty awesome, man. I've had some great memories over there. You've been the one reason why I've gone back to Charlotte since I left. I mean, I left there in 2012. I've gone back every single year. I was in Charlotte last year for something, but it wasn't for Christmas. I remember coming down there for something last year, but it's because of the friendship that we developed being coworkers all those years ago. Yep. And I mean, at the end of the day, man, that's what life's all about. Staying in touch with people that are cool, having those good relationships that you can just develop for life, man. We haven't even really talked in it's been months since we've talked in person, really, phone call here or there, some text, but it's almost like, hey, dude, we were hanging out yesterday as far as I can see. That's a great friendship when you can just pick up like nothing has even happened and you're thousands of miles away from each other and just chilling on Keepin' It Rio, having some fun. So I appreciate it. I appreciate that. We're going to make this Keepin' It Rio pretty big. I've got some potential guests coming up in the future that are going to take it to another level, but like I told you yesterday, man, you're number 2. I had a buddy over in Georgia. We were doing a co-branded podcast, so I did a interview with him. But as far as the Keepin' It Rio interview podcast, Dimitri Vouvoudakis is number 1A, and that's where you belong, man, right at the top. I think your story is amazing. We didn't even really get into a whole lot of that stuff, but you got an incredible story. Just seeing your growth and the way you've developed as not just as a man, but like as a father, dude, that makes me almost cry every time I see that stuff because it's so genuine. And I know how much you love your family and how you would do anything for them. Mm-hmm. And that's just awesome. That's just awesome. Real quick, speaking of your family, here's a guy I haven't seen or heard from in a minute, man. How's your brother doing?
He's good, man. He's actually, he's in between, stuff right now. He just sold his house here in Charlotte, and he purchased an RV for temporary until he figures out what he's doing. But he's the same George you remember, just living life, having fun, doing what he can. He's super smart. He's into all that cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and whatnot. He's been, trying to get me into it, and me and him are going to be doing a little more with that. He's been, turning me over to the dark side of investing in it. So I'm thinking about dabbling a little bit, only because he's my brother. I trust him. But yeah, George is good. He's just living it day by day, just like all of us, trying to make it work.
That's the key right there, man. That right there is the absolute key to life. Just take it day by day. You never know. I know people that didn't wake up when they thought they were going to wake up any given morning, and you never know when your time is going to be. So I've always lived by the mantra of just go out, have fun. I'm going to enjoy what I'm doing until I don't enjoy it. And once I don't enjoy it, I'm getting the hell away from it, and I'll find something new, right?
Move on to the next thing. Yep.
That's it. So let's wind this thing down a little bit. If anybody that's watching or listening, because this is going to be on like every major platform that you can think of. I've got Keeping It Rio on YouTube. I've got it on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, you know, all those little podcast things. If anybody's listening to this and they want to get a hold of you to do business with either of your two companies, what's the best way to go about doing that? And I will also post links in the show notes. So if anybody wants to touch base, website or anything like that, they'll have the ability. But what's the best way to reach you at both of your companies and help
Right
make yourself take care of
right
stuff?
now, social media. I mean, just like with anyone, social media is the best way to reach out to us, because as far as phone calls, you know, all the people involved with the companies, they're all hands on. Like I don't pay a salary to someone who's just going to answer the phone.
Right.
You know, as great as technology is, it causes us to move past things, and I think we're almost past that. Oh, I'm going to call this number. Like if that's all you're giving me is a number, well, then you don't really have a lot to offer. Like I kind of showed you guys before, I have this little Popple code. You know what I mean? This is the new business card. I don't have to put my name and my partner's name and his number and my number and his email and my email. I can literally hand this to someone, they scan it, and they officially have everything that I have to offer. And I mean, it's so convenient, especially not just for a company like Raw to Reel that has plenty of things that we do, but for example, with the hemp company, when, you know, someone scans one of those for our certificates of analysis for, you know, all the testing for all our products, they can get it off our card. So that if they want to know what percentage something is, when it was produced, all those things, everything comes from that QR code. So like I said, we're past the point of a phone number here, people. I mean, you need to get on social media. You need to follow these companies that you want to be involved with, that you want to learn about, because that's how they're gaining their traction. That's how we're telling ourselves what we're going to do next year by what we're seeing on social media this year and what feedback we're getting. So if you want to reach out to us, get on Facebook. It's Raw to Reel. Okay.
And that's Raw, the number 2, and then REAL for anybody that might not be watching.
Yes.
Raw to Reel.
Yeah. RAW, the number 2, REAL. All right. And then the hemp farm is Garden of Panacea. PANACEA. Garden of Panacea.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. This has been a great hour and 7 minutes that we've been chatting, and we talked for a few minutes before that. We're probably going to talk for a few after this is done, but I appreciate you so much coming on Keeping It Rio today.
Thank you.
We're having a lot of fun doing this podcast, and I feel like it's getting better every single time. So this is going to be the best episode to date, I guarantee. I just realized I forgot to record it on my actual mixing board thing, but that's okay. I got it on my computer and I can process everything later, but still working on it. Man, Dimitri, I appreciate you, buddy. You're one of my best friends in life. We're going to hang out until, you know, one day, like I said, we're taking my jet to your island and we're going to hang out for a weekend. I can't wait for that to happen. I'm so proud of you, seeing how everything's developing, and just, dude, you're a freaking killer. I've known that since day one.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on Keeping It Rio, dude. This was a great episode, and I really have enjoyed it. And yeah, thank everybody who's watched too.
So thank you very much.
Yep, without a doubt. If anybody wants to share this episode or give us a great 5-star review, we certainly appreciate that. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off now. Thank you everybody for listening to Keeping It Rio. We'll be back with you with another episode here very shortly. I've got a whole bunch of them that I'm getting ready to release. So thanks for being a loyal guest and loyal follower and all that stuff. We appreciate you. And until next time, this is Chuck coming at you live from the keepingitrio.com studios. Adios.